Welcome to the Town Board Workshop for Thursday, April 2nd. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town clerk, and also the door that you came in. Roll, please.
Councilman Delango?
Here.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. Councilman Perotti?
Present.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Here. We'll start with heating system upgrade information from John Scott.
Hi, my name is John Scott. I wanted to start off by letting you know that, well, actually I was asked to give you an update on to the boilers and what we're using right at the moment. I started here, I think you started in 2009 when you took over the building, and I've been here since the beginning, whatever year that is. It's been about 5 years. The boiler you have downstairs is very old. It's 54 years old. It's a steam boiler. It's about the size of a small SUV, and it's oversized for the application that you currently are using. So it does no good to replace that boiler with another boiler of the same kind. You'd be wasting a lot of energy. Now the other thing is the burner that the boiler uses. The burner is a power flame, and it's a modulating burner, so it can go anywhere from about two or 3 gallons an hour to 20 gallons an hour. I've never had it off low fire other than to test it and do a tune-up. So we're constantly using approximately 3-4 gallons an hour when the boiler's running. So you don't really need too much of a modulating system. The report that I was reading tells me that that boiler is about a 63 or 68 horsepower, just to give you something that's a ballpark as to where that boiler is at. What you really need in this building, according to the heat load calculation that was just performed, is about a 32 to 35 horsepower. So it's basically nearly double the size of what you need. So I want to let you know that the burner is 16 years old. The oil tank is up to code. Everything seems to be fine with it. Of course, it's under the ground. You can't look at too much, but it's up to code. It's a double-walled tank. It's about 25 years old. That's and that's something that is not my expertise. I don't know whether that's expected life on a oil tank, but it's probably, there's no problems. I don't think there's any real worries there. Your HVAC units, these are these units that you'll have in every one of these classrooms. They are at least 12 years old. I could not find any dates on any information. I don't have any information on them to go by. But they're at least 12 years old, and they are sized, or should be sized, for the room that they're being used in. They are almost obsolete. You can get parts, you can get items for it, but your best bet is to get new HVAC units to go along with the size on the heat load calculation that was performed earlier or a few weeks ago. Your reports that you have been getting are steam. You have steam boilers. Now the problem with steam is it's either on or it's off, and it's costly. Steam is a costly manner, and when they put these in 1961, your oil wasn't too expensive, and it wasn't really concerned of economics. Now, I'm actually going to suggest that, and this is through my expertise of dealing with boilers for many years now, the hydronic system, which is a hot water system, you would be very prudent in using the 2 or 3 boilers in the boiler plant, replacing what's there with a water piping system, which would be hydronic, and replacing the heating units in each room to gear it towards the heat load that the room is using at this time. Your benefits of that is you would save a lot of money in the long run. You don't have to do every one right at the time. I'm not a design engineer. I couldn't tell you what size you need for each room. But I do know that the way the building is used, this room, for instance, it's with the steam heat, it's being heated every day, 7 days a week, probably pretty close to 12 hours to 14 hours a day, and nobody's even in this room. Where if you had a hot hydronic heating unit in here, you could keep the room at 55, and when you're going to use it, an hour or two, you could have a thermostat, turn it up to 70, 68, according to the law, and you'd be saving a lot of money because this room doesn't get used very much. The courtroom, same thing, and we could go on with the way scheduling is done around here. Some rooms are just heated constantly, and you don't need to use all that steam to heat these rooms. Your hydronic system would be much better. So we're talking new boilers, circulating pumps, probably new pipelines, and new heating units. I can't give you prices on it. There are some surveys that tell you approximate. We'd have to get, you probably have to pick what you want to do. There was geothermal. I think that's, your envelope in this building does not fit geothermal heating ways. I don't know what else has been thrown out at here. Propane maybe, but you have a perfectly good oil tank as far as I know. And you have the space for the boilers downstairs. Everything would be...
And heat pumps?
Okay, heat pumps was another, thank you. Heat pumps was another mention, and even I am convinced that the biggest problem with the heat pump you would have, you'd still need a boiler to heat during the coldest days of the year in this north part of the country. Heat pumps are good to, they'll claim 10 above or 15 degrees outside, but it's very little. Dutchess College has a dormitory, and they had problems last year with the heat pumps could only keep the building to 60 degrees, and it was a dorm, a new dorm, and they had no backup heat. So everybody was running around 60-degree dormitories, and they were very cold. There wasn't much you can do because there was no backup. I think they resolved the problem, whether they put electric heat in or some other kind of mean. I don't know. I didn't get a follow-up on that. But I do know that these heat pumps that you could be, a salesman would like to sell are great. They're very efficient. They can pump the heat in and pump the heat out. They're just like the hotel heating units in each building, but the hotels also have an electric heater in it when it is very cold. So the electric heat will come on if the heat pump can't pull it out of the cold air outside.
And they use more electricity.
You do not have the electrical needs to fulfill any kind of heat pumps in all the places. I don't know how much it would be. Again, that's a design answer for an engineer. I don't know if it's even worth looking at because heat pumps are relatively new. They've been around a long time, but I don't know anybody who heats their house or any place with a heat pump other than hotels. And most of those rooms are kind of humming all the time. They're a little noisy, but I would personally, I think your hot water hydronic heating systems would be very advantageous. You could get local plumbers and local heating specialists that could work on them. I don't think there's anything else that I need to cover. I'd be happy to answer any questions if somebody wants to ask, but I do want to say that the boilers you have right now aren't going to make it very much. They're falling apart. They're corroded. There's no water treatment done on them, and they're on their last leg.
The other thing we would have to add is a water softener because of the corrosion.
Yes. You would actually get a water softener, water treatment for a new boiler, depending on the manufacturer's recommendation. The size of the water softener, the size of the boiler. You don't soften an awful lot of water when you run a hydronic, because all the water stays within the system, so it's already soft, except once in a while you get a leak and you replace it. Where the steam is, you always got steam leaking somewhere. I fixed a leak in the tunnel this season that has been leaking since the beginning of my stay here. And I just want to say that the quicker you move on getting a boiler in here, that the better off everybody's going to be as far as heat for the next season. Also, with a chill or a hydronic system in the future, you could think of putting a chiller in there and run chill water through the same units. And the chill water is what they do to cool in the summertime. And you use the same units, the same piping. It's just that you turn the boiler off and you run a cold water through it, and it's capable of cooling off the area without a Mitsubishi air conditioner hanging in the wall with a compressor outside. Also expensive though. I mean, it's not cheap.
And the other thing I understand, by replacing all the HVAC units, it would give us an opportunity to insulate and back them because they need insulation.
Yes, there are, each one of these units are open to the outside. Several of the places I had, John Culligan and I, we have made boxes and put them on the outside, and we insulate the outside. It's like a quarter of an inch insulation. It's like putting a cover over your car to keep it from snow getting on it. It doesn't really keep the cold out, but it helps. And
but we would be able to properly insulate by replacing the units.
A much better job of insulation. In fact, you may be able to fix that hole in the wall and have it solid again, so air doesn't come through it. Other than that, hot water for your building is better addressed with local heat, instantaneous heat, or instantaneous hot water heaters for each bathroom, because the system that the school has ran hot water throughout the building constantly, 24/7, and it's like a big cooling coil. You don't want to run hot water like that in a municipality that only uses hot water at the sink, and
which is why we don't.
Correct. That's exactly right. And then the last thing I think that might want to consider down the line is have somebody inspect the chimney. The outside looks great. Never know what the inside looks like.
Okay.
So water softener, boilers, pumps, and that's just my opinion. I think hydronic is simple. It's very easy to understand. Many contractors in the area can help you in the future, making repairs, making adjustments. And each unit should be thermostat controlled. They have thermostats now. If you can go on your phone and you can start it up. I'm sure the courtroom would love to have a thermostat call up and say, hey, we're gonna be in there about 10 minutes, let's turn the heat up. You know, or the gymnasium and all that.
So with the hydronic, besides each room having a thermostat, we can also do zones
Yes,
to better control the fuel that we're using to heat.
you would basically have a loop going around with hot water and coming back to the boiler. And then off of that loop, the room thermostat will open up a valve, very similar to what these are, and it will control the heat in two specific ways. It will open up the valve for the room calling for heat, and then the water going back is going to be colder for the boiler, and the boiler is going to have a brain saying, oh, it must be getting cold outside. The water's coming back colder. So it increases the temperature of the water. They call it a reset, temperature reset. And as it gets colder outside, the water going out to the building gets hotter, causing you to use more oil. But that's natural. When it's 0 degrees outside, you're going to use more oil. But the nice thing is when it's 40 degrees or 50 degrees outside, the water's going to come back and the boiler's going to say, hey, we don't even need to heat up. You're going to save a lot of energy, save a lot of money, and save a lot of oil. Any questions, Mike?
No, I'm good.
All right. Got it? You're good.
Got it. I mean, basically, you're saying what the engineer said last board meeting.
Well, I might be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to kind of push and say, well, all right, the boiler's not good anymore. It really isn't. I did some major repairs beginning of this season, and I see more trouble happening. Now I have there's a return pump that's not.
No, I know. I helped you with a couple of them.
And you've been down there, I know
Yeah.
that. Actually, I was going to bring a picture and show everybody what the boiler looked like, but it's downstairs. It doesn't go anywhere. If there's any questions that come up later, you can get my phone number. I'm pretty sure the town hall has it somewhere, and be happy to talk to you or make arrangements to speak on a one-to-one basis or a cup of coffee or something like that, and discuss anything. Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
good luck. I hope you guys can get something going here. It's just not gonna. I don't know if you'll make it through this next winter without a problem. Mainly because of the water treatment and stuff that has been neglected.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you for coming, and thank you for the great job you do keeping the heat
Well, I
rolling in
don't
this
know.
building.
I'm hearing it's pretty warm, and then it's too cold, and well, with steam, it's really hard to control. I got to tell you that it's really hard to control because your radiators, they hold the heat, and these HVAC window units, they're copper, they lose the heat right away. So now the boiler doesn't come on for another 15 minutes. That's already cold. Dawn can attest to how cold that gets real quick. And then what happens is the radiators are still hot, like in the auditorium and stuff. Anyway, there is a time clock on that. I'm trying to tune it back to make it so it's not so hot. I don't know how today went, but I just making slight adjustments on it so we can save a lot of oil. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Virgil Shuck.
Good evening, everyone. I am Virgil Shook, as most of you know. I'm captain of the Amenia Fire Company, and I come representing the Recruit New York committee. I'm actually just going to read a little quick note. The Amenia Fire Company Committee of Recruit New York are seeking out your permission to hold an open house event April 26th, beginning at approximately 11 a.m. and continuing on until around 2 p.m. This event is a statewide event and brings in participation that allows people to learn and see what the volunteer fire service does in our communities. We ask to use the lower parking area south of the main building where we have our fire apparatus and emergency response equipment out and visible to the public. We will also be doing some demonstrations of various techniques that are used in the service. With your approval, we look forward to having another successful campaign for our town and its residents. And thank you for your consideration on this matter.
What time would it be?
It'll begin at 11 a.m.
To 2.
and approximately 2 p.m. ending. The only thing we ask is if we could possibly come in a little bit early to set up if you approve of this. So,
You can come in anytime you want.
great, great. Okay.
Uh,
And so it'll be April 26th that we'll probably be in around 9 a.m. So we hope to see you guys and show some support for the town.
I'll make a motion that the fire company be allowed to use the facilities needed on April 26th from 9 a.m. or earlier if necessary until 2 p.m. or later if necessary.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle? Yes. Councilman Prodi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. And we'll see you on the 26th.
Thank you.
Kevin Casson?
Hello, Kevin Casson, Amenia. I wanted to clear up some things about, and I'm no big fan of them, but about BAS and what came up at the previous meeting. And I think there's some things that people don't understand. BAS, well, you know, I don't think it's that much. I heard people saying it costs so much. It's $3,200 a year. It's $280 a month. That comes to $70 a week. I think you get 7 hours of support a week, so that's $10 an hour. I don't know. When I used to have to buy support, it was about $140 an hour, and that's for any dumb question anybody has. The printer's stuck, not just the web system. It's hardware support. Like I said, I'm no big fan of theirs, but I don't think it makes a lot of sense to change now. And from the comments I heard at the last meeting, it seems like people want to dump them. Well, then you're going to have to start from scratch. You cannot use local talent, not unless they have a staff of 12 people and a phone bank, and they're going to answer phone calls and give support. You can't write a website locally and then ask another company to come in and support it. They won't do it. They're only going to give support for the software they sell or that they've written, or if it's some vanilla blanket, you know, municipal software in a box off the shelf, you know, something that a known quantity. The only way that support some homegrown written website is if they go over it. They're going to charge you 20, 40 grand to go through it line by line, analyze it, look at it, test it, 2, 3 people a month. It's just cost prohibitive. So that just doesn't happen. So, you know, and if people wanted changes, I don't know if everybody read the contract, but there were 2 years when you were allowed to make all the changes you want for free. That expired, I forget when, right, Bill came in, I forget, Victoria, how fast did he do that? By March, February, March, April, I forget. Pretty quickly he did that. So
Right.
that period expired just after you took office as supervisor. But basically his whole term, there was an open window. I remember writing him, I would talk to him, you know, so it's nothing about this administration, it was the past one too. I would send him lists of stuff and he was sort of like, don't bother me, kid, talk to them directly. And I was like, well, they're not going to listen to me, they'll listen to you because you hold the purse strings, you know, a cough from you and they'll jump. But we could have made all the changes we wanted for 2 years for free. Now it's time and materials. I just think to start over at this point is going to cost you much more money. You have to get somebody who gives software support, who gives hardware support. And like I said, not just on the website. Our people, your staff, Bill's staff, your staff, anybody's staff, okay? This has problems, you know, my computer won't communicate with the printer. This won't happen, that won't happen. It's got to be there 24/7, you know. So the option of getting local talent to write it it doesn't exist. That's a fantasy. People might want to complain and talk to certain people on the board, but the idea that somebody locally is going to write this and then support it just isn't going to happen. I think you've spent enough money. You've been down this road. I mean, I was a computer consultant for 30 years. It's just, you know, I just think we should stick with what we have. I think that's the most cost saving. To you specifically, Victoria, I saw the problem you were having, and that was thank you at least for trying to go along with that. And you were having that technical issue, and that one technical problem about them not giving support. I know what their problem is. Most, and you guys might not know this, but most viruses, the easiest way to get a virus on somebody's computer is a picture, because pictures are so big, right? If you've ever taken them and you've transferred them to your computer at home, it's like, 3 megapixels, 8 megabytes, right? They're big files. So it's really easy to hide 20 lines of code in that with all the bits and bytes that make up a digital picture. That's why they don't want to do it. So if you used a device that wasn't online, so no phones taking pictures, like the way Bob Reamer does it with a digital camera, but it's never online to anything.
Right.
Or if you agreed that maybe you'd send them the picture, they do virus analysis. Anyway, maybe they could take that. I think that's what they were afraid of, Victoria. And I think if you came up with a mechanism where they could be sure that whatever pictures you're uploading are safe, I think they'd be fine with it. And I think they'd take that "we won't support it" clause out. So it's at least worth trying to talk to them about that. But that's the reason, if you were wondering, why don't they want to give support on this? That's what they're worried about. They're very dangerous, and it's an open window into your system. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you those thoughts on computer systems and our website. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Is there any other public comment?
I
You want to do that letter?
can do it now. I received a notice. Someone has asked that we read this into, Tom Warner was in earlier and he was unable to stay this evening. He'd like to make a comment that he would like to commend John Fenton for his assistance on an unauthorized stock tank and removal of his stone wall. So Tom would like to thank John.
Any other
Well,
public comment?
See, then it's under 5 minutes. He did a good job.
Well, we did get a public comment sort of from the Amenia Historical Society. They took a look at the town website, front page, and no member of the Historical Society can confirm that the photograph on the front page of the Amenia town website is Amenia. So our town homepage has a picture from somewhere else, USA. They sent that to me today.
I have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday with BAS at 10 o'clock to discuss the website. They also offered to bring someone with them to sit with any of the software, with the persons using any of our software packages, the building, utility, or the town clerk, tax collector. I talked to Katrina. She said she was fine with the building software. And the utility software, we had a one-on-one training, and they're fine with that. And I told him that the town clerk's office would like to have a refresher regarding the software packages for tax collector and town clerk. And so he is bringing someone to do that at no cost to the town, so that the other deputies in the town clerk's office can also be familiar with the software packages that we have. I had a call last week from a contact at DOT regarding the Trail to the Train final design report. The final design report has been looked at by all the departments, and they are putting comments together. These will be sent within the next few weeks. The Old Amenia landfill, CT Mail, our engineering firm, is working on a final engineering and construction certification report. They're also working on the site management plan. The site management plan is how the Old Amenia landfill would be taken care of going forward by the town of Sharon. That particular plan has to be approved by the DEC. The contractor will be coming as soon as the weather clears to remove temporary erosion and sediment controls, including the silt fence and any repairs related to the removal of the silt fence. The project will be completed this year. We will be moving from short-term financing to long-term financing as soon as the repairs have been made. And then we can move toward changing it from the Old Amenia landfill restoration to the Thomas Young Park. There are some funds put aside for this purpose. We had a meeting today at 3:30 with Michael Jim Strensky, Tanya Shumentoff of HVA, Vicki Doyle, Larissa Delango, Chris and Don Klinger regarding the stormwater management plan meeting for the $17,000 in grant funds that we received for not only a rain garden, but creating a stormwater management plan for the Amenia Town Hall property. There's never been a stormwater plan for the property. We also had to take some of the information in the plan has to be sent to DEC as part of the permitting process for the playground that we're going to be putting in the back. I was asked by to write a letter of support and as soon as possible in order to because a grant was becoming due. I am pleased to offer the support of the town of Amenia to the Eastern Dutchess Community Coalition, EDCC, in their application to become a sub-grantee of the New York State Strategic Prevention Framework Partnership for a Successful Grant. I understand the goal of this project is to reduce the rates of prescription drug abuse and heroin use among the 12 to 25-year-old population in Eastern Dutchess County through the use of evidence-based environmental prevention strategies and the 5 steps of the strategic prevention framework. Will help the coalition to disseminate information about their services and programs to providers, and will assist the coalition and member agency in implementing evidence-based prevention strategies in Eastern Dutchess County. Basically, will just be a source of information to the public and the youth. I think anything that the town of Amenia can do to stem the rates of prescription drug use and heroin use for the 12 to 25-year-old population, I think would be helpful. And I wish everybody a happy Easter. And that's the end of my report, town clerk report.
Good evening. The local share for the month of March has been remitted to the town supervisor in the amount of $740.75. April 1st was opening day of fishing. The 2015-2016 fishing regulation guide may be picked up in the town clerk's office during regular business hours. Also, I'd like to announce that April 25th and 26th is Spring Youth Hunt Weekend. All eligible hunters that are the ages 12 to 15 who hold their junior hunting license and a turkey permit. All youth hunters must be accompanied by an adult as required by law for junior hunting licenses. Accompanying adult must also have their current license and turkey permit. So good luck to all of our young hunters out there this month. And as Supervisor Perotti reported earlier, Wednesday, April 8th, the town clerk's office will be closed beginning at 10 a.m. I'm going to guesstimate till 12. This is the first opportunity that BAS has offered to do training to the town clerk's office since I began my term 3 years ago, and having 2 new staff members for the past year. I was happy to accept that offer, and I'm thankful to the board and Supervisor Perotti making some training happen for us in the office. So we're going to look at the entire program to see what else there may be to have to offer.
The training portion is in their contract, so if you need additional, just ask them.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting me the contracts.
No problem. And that concludes my report this evening.
Water District report. Maida, do you want to read the report?
May Jones, Water Committee. We had our meeting on March 11th, and the main topic was, of course, the freezing water pipes. Marco gave you a report on that last month, and so I won't go over it. There's only one remaining that hasn't been repaired, and the party is in the process of hiring a contractor to repair it. It's just leaking, and she's able to get water through it. And I want to thank the board for acting on our recommendations regarding the extension of the Corpro contract regarding the water tank, the maintenance of it, another year. And also for the homes with the frozen pipes, that you granted them a waiver for this quarter. And third of all, for the subscribers who might have let the water run, so therefore they have a high usage. And we're doing a historical comparison, and we'll see what comes out of that. And the water meters will be read next week, so that will go out. And our next meeting will be next Wednesday, April 8th at 5:30. And do you have any questions? I just want to comment how lucky we've been so far that this was a terrible winter and we haven't had any leaks. You know, yeah.
No water main breaks. We've been
Right.
very lucky.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Committee reports?
I think we are having a cleanup day for the 18th, and I'm kind of saying, just in general, I think the town should just follow on with the Recreation Commission's cleanup day of Beekman Park at, I think they're starting at 11 a.m. I'll have trash bags here at Town Hall at 10 a.m. and at Fountain Square. And the town clerk, I'll give some contractor bags here throughout the week. You're not here on Friday, but Monday through Thursday, and then Saturday morning you can pick up bags. And so those are roadside and trails and Beekman Park, obviously, mostly the Hamlet Centers and rail trails. So let me know if you have a particular area that you want to focus on, but in the absence of that, any volunteers can meet at Fountain Square at 10 o'clock, and we'll start there.
On the 18th.
On the 18th of April.
Historian?
All this stuff fall off. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Arlene Giuliano, town historian, with a few things here bring to your attention, and see if you'll make a proclamation for me, which I talked to Victoria already about. But anyway, before I give you that, if you don't mind, a couple things. Did you get these passports?
I made the announcement 2 meetings ago, and I displayed them, and I've actually
Oh, okay,
handed
because I didn't, oh.
one out
Do you,
so far.
yeah, just, I don't know how it's gonna go, do you? This is a Dutchess County project, Dutchess County Historian Department project that was suggested by one of the, Tom Usher, who is no longer a historian, but anyway, but, so, What do you do, just hand them, do you just have
So
them
if
there?
someone comes and visits the town clerk's office, I have them, and then they gave us the stamps. I displayed it at the February meeting. So
Okay,
I'm sorry.
all right.
to-
Don't-
but
I'm sorry, because I
There's a
didn't-
cool stamp that goes in there that they provided to the
Yeah.
town, and it's our seal.
I'll have to bring your mind
You're
down and
gonna
make
have
you
to visit
stamp
me.
it.
Yeah, we'll stamp yours.
Well, just a couple of announcements, and you probably are aware of this one. This Friday is, and the Historic Society is having a presentation. Amenia Historical Society and the Northeast Historical Society together at the town hall here on a, from New York to Nagaland. I don't know if that's not been on the,
Website or television?
I don't know. I mean, you've got that great
Is it on a
source,
website?
and I don't see things on there sometimes, and,
You have to
you know.
keep tabbing.
Huh?
Keep going down and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the
Huh?
things we wanted to fix.
I don't know.
Well, we have posters all over the
Yeah,
place.
there's posters on the front door.
Where? Out in that hallway?
On the front door, as soon as you
Oh,
come in.
well-
The
And the
actual
side door.
door, the
And the
actual
side
door.
Yeah, we
Well,
have-
I'm just
we
telling
have-
you, we don't
Color.
all see them. Even though we'd like to, we don't all see them.
What time is that presentation?
It's 7 o'clock, wait a minute. 7 PM. Right. I don't know what you guys are doing about tourism. Are you doing anything? I mean, tourism in this county is really come on.
We've been,
In the sense of the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. They've really, well, since the walkway, really, in my opinion, you know. And since we don't have hardly anything in this town, and you can correct me on that, what are we doing to attract people to come here? All I see is things not being, closing their doors, so to speak.
well, we're working on updating the brochure. Stephen, do you want to?
Yeah, actually, you're
Stephen's
exactly the
kinda-
person I want to talk to.
Because
Oh, I know
Stephen's
that you
taken
guys
that
have-
project over.
I know that you guys have been doing a lot of updating on the Amenia brochure, but I was talking with my good friend, Mr. Andrew Murphy, and we were thinking that it would look good if we could add some photographs to it, similar to the Wassaic one.
Listen, Stephen, do what you want. Bring it into the 21st century.
Good.
That's up to you guys. That
Well-
one was, you know, all I did was write that about the history.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to put in
And you-
your narrative and your history, because
I
that
mean, right, but the idea is, and you've updated telephone numbers and what have you. But as far as the content, really, do what you people think is best.
well, we were hoping
in
that
the
you could
sense
help
of
us
the
select the
times,
pictures.
you know, pardon?
We were hoping that you could help us at least select the picture.
Oh,
You want to sit down
pictures.
in the
All right, well, I'll tell you, you want historic pictures?
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think the
we were
Historic
thinking-
Society has much more than, I don't have that much on my own, you know, I work out of my own
Mm-hmm.
home there with my computer, and I don't have that much on, and I'm no expert at all
Yeah.
on that kind of thing. I've
We
got to
just,
learn it.
I believe, you know, when Stephen and Andy looked at it, they just thought it would look much nicer. It was more like the Wassaic one.
Yes,
Yeah.
do what you, in my,
Okay, well,
with
thank
all
you.
due respect.
We will.
Yeah.
But I mean, the historic, hey, I don't own it, so to speak. You guys, the town,
Yeah, and,
town
you know,
is paying for it.
I'll tell you, you know,
Yeah, we've been getting, I mean, we've gotten quotes for the Wassaic one, but then, I
Yeah,
know
that-
we've gotten a couple for the Amenia one as is, but we just
Yeah,
wondered
no.
if it could use a facelift.
No, do what you know, I'll be glad to,
yeah, I think Andy and I will be, well, I'll be
Yeah,
in
okay,
contact with
and-
the Historical Society, and I know that they got quite a collection of pictures that have been
oh
digitized.
yeah, and they're putting them, digitizing, and see, I don't even know all the terminology. I'm not very good. But they are working on putting a lot of information, digitizing, am I saying that right? Is that what they do with new pictures too? But I'll be glad to help you with recommendations as far as pictures, if that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what
I
we.
mean, that doesn't mean, you know, work together and compromise. Can be done, right?
Because we, you know, we want to get the brochures done so
Yeah,
we can
right,
get them
because-
out to, you know, to Dutchess County Tourism, but we just want to send
You're
something
right.
out there that really represent us in the best light.
You're right. You need to, I mean, you know, we haven't got much going on here, people. You may think we do, and I'm,
Well,
with all due respect, I'm
Over
sorry,
the
I don't
weekend,
see
we
it.
had 75 families here from Glastonbury, Connecticut, across the river over in Orange County, and they all were here for a
Did
whole
you have
day.
a bus tour? Because that's
Well,
what.
it wasn't a tour, but I do agree that that's a natural fit. But they were here for Pony Club. They were here all day on Saturday. They went out to get sandwiches. They went out to go and get their lunch. And then after that, they had cheerleaders. And after that, they
Relax,
had something
Vicki,
else.
relax, Vicki.
Well, there was like
But I'm
Easter
just
egg
talking
hunt.
in an overall picture here. I don't
Bigger
see us as having much attraction here. Everything is on the other side of the river, which is fine. You can't, none of us can compete, so to speak, with the Hudson River.
But we've
That's a
had
big
walking
attraction,
tours in
but-
Wassaic.
Yeah, the deadline for the Ramble is probably May. So if you want to do a tour, that would be good.
Well, there is material that is coming in on
There's
the,
a lot of
on the
material.
computer from Dutch Tourism, and there's all kinds of classes out there, all kinds of training programs, which I can get to some of them. But I just think that, I'll tell you, you know, we have a place here in the town of Amenia and the Millerton line where Franklin D. Roosevelt used to come and park and look over to the Catskills. I mean, Franklin, the FDR site has gained a lot of attention, and since Ken Burns did his program on that. That's what the newspapers are saying. That's what's happening. Again, I may be saying the wrong thing, so to speak. But I mean, isn't there some way we can connect with some things that are on the other side? Brandy had a bus trip. You know, I don't know how many more of those they could schedule, and where people could. I mean, if we keep these view sheds the way we're supposed to, off of Delaverne Hill, and in other areas of this town, that was a major, major attraction. And it has been for years and years and years.
Well, Weathersfield
but now I don't know what
is
we're
an
doing.
attraction too.
Pardon?
Weathersfield.
Yes, you've
People
got
come here.
Weathersfield, you've got, they do a lot themselves. I mean, I met him last year out at the Brochure Exchange out at Renegade Stadium, Dutchess Stadium. And I'll be going to that in May again. But anyway, I'm just, don't get angry.
What are you
Just
going
think.
at? What are you going
What
at
can
Dutchess?
we do?
What are you going to at Dutchess Stadium?
Brochure Exchange. That's all the organizations.
That's in May, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why we want to get them done
Yeah, right.
for that.
right. I mean, it's, you know, I'm just saying, I think we really need to think here, because, I mean, this, you know,
Okay.
granted, the Ramble is great. I think it's great, but we're not attracting enough, we gotta do more. And again, I don't know all the answers, and I'm standing here saying this and probably can't help you that much, so to speak, in the sense of level of activity, you know. But what else can we?
Well, that's the whole idea of upgrading the brochure. So, you know, when we send it
Right.
out there, we can showcase what we do have here,
which is
rather than
not
just
much.
keep it the same way as it was. Well, we have Weathersfield, we have Troutbeck. I mean, they're both historical
Troutbeck
places.
is closed. It's not, you ride around and you'll buy it.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's part of our history.
I know, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just trying to, I don't know what else there is. What's his name, it's from Miley Farm, he gets people coming through there, on Randall Road. Of course, nobody can go too much on anything right now with the mud is still there. But I mean, is there, Steve, you know, I mean, you grew up in the area. I don't know, is there anything we can do to stimulate? I mean, the Four Brothers is a great restaurant and they come out
This time of
eat
year, it's
there
kinda
or
limited.
wherever else they want to eat. But I mean, that's
tell you.
one location where they,
Well, there's no reason we can't meet with someone from Dutchess County Tourism,
yeah,
from Mary Kay Berbera, or Linda Higginson I'm in touch with, because I usually have her bring out the Dutchess County tourism books, that tell you where you can go pick apples, where all the, where you can go for anything pretty much. But there's no reason that, we can't sit down and meet with them and, and see what we can do to bring people to Amenia for whatever, historical.
I mean, the Coons Brothers
we have to
Farm
do.
is, again, Coons Brothers, the one on the top of the Depot Hill.
Yes,
they
and
really
they have-
don't, they
yeah,
don't
they
really
have an
want
open
a lot of
house once
people
a
other
year.
than who they arrange to come. They're not that wide open. But I mean, you certainly get up on the top of there and look. I mean, it's the greatest, great, for people who like views, and there are people who do, who would just, are not going to get out and go into every place. They can't. They like to sit in the bus or what have you and
Well,
look
that's,
at
it's something we can work on going forward.
Well, maybe we can also work on like historical homes tour.
Pardon?
Because there are a lot of historical homes in the town of in Amenia and Wassaic area.
Yeah.
Like the Winnegar
We got to
House.
think. And you got, I don't, there's a lot of
'Cause I know
clothes.
that they have the I know Coleman Station is their Coleman Station Historical District. So there are people out there that want to make the effort and to do it, and
No.
we have Smithfield, which is
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
very
no,
historical
wow,
area.
they're on the historic,
Yeah.
no. There's
So-
a few places on the historic register, only about 5 in this whole town.
maybe that's
And
something
that,
we need to work on.
of course, that means effort. You have to go through the application process, blah, blah, blah.
But we can point out what ones we have.
We got a lot of for sale signs, though. Really. And I'm not saying, So I'm sorry if I'm bugging you and you're
You're
not
not.
happy with what I'm
You're not, I mean,
saying. I'm
you're
just
the
trying to-
historian.
We gotta do something.
That's right.
And I'm saying that, and I can't help you that much anymore, unfortunately, other than through writings, and I can, that kind of stuff. But actually to do is another thing. But really, we got to get with the program here, people. In my opinion, right? Anyway, but because Dutchess County is they really are doing a good job on trying to keep the county going. I would say you probably all agree, right? There's all kinds of. But anyway. Okay. Well, before you all get mad at me.
Oh,
Nobody's mad at you.
But Stephen, just let me know if there's anything I can do.
no problem. I'll be in contact with you.
Yeah, right. The main thing I came for was email Victoria a couple weeks ago. This is Grange month. So it's the same. They didn't rewrite a new one this year, but that's all right. That sounds pretty good. There's a copy for you so you can say you got it.
Thank you
and
very
put it in
much.
the minutes.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I'd appreciate if you would consider making
Oh,
a
absolutely.
proclamation and I'll go sit down.
Proclamation, April 2015 is Grange Month, American Values, Hometown Roots. Whereas the National Grange of the Order of Patrons of Husbandry was organized in 1867 to serve the American people, whereas the service, through educational efforts of the Grange and its members, have aided innumerable people both in and out of the order to reach their full potential as leaders and people, whereas Grange members have performed uncountable hours of service projects to improve their communities and to better the lives of their fellow citizens, whereas the service of nonpartisan legislative advocacy of the Grange through the unified efforts of its membership have immeasurably benefited local communities and our nation as a whole, and whereas the fellowship and family atmosphere of the Grange serve millions of Americans by strengthening the social connections through a multitude of activities, whereas Grangers are supportive of agriculture, rural America, and American values, as these form the bedrock of American society, whereas the Grange continues to serve every American through our hometown roots, therefore be it resolved that the Stone Church Grange Number 1561 offers his proclamation of April as Grange Month for the year 2015 in the spirit of fellowship, proclaimed August 2nd, 2015 by the Amenia Town Board, 498 Route 22, Amenia, New York, 12501.
There is no Amenia Grange. It went out in 2007. It was the first one in the county in 1890. But it finally aged out, and those of us who are left with the Amenia Grange joined the Stone Church Grange in Dover. About 5 or 6 of us. We're still, Al, you and I are still hanging in there. We get to the meetings, everybody else is. But I mean, the history of the Grange is fantastic, really. If it wasn't for the Grange Civil War period, the Reconstruction period, as an example, would not have happened in the way it did. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we have the proclamation signed by the town board for April as Grange Month.
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the
Amenia Fire Company Carnival resolutions. Resolution number
7.
Amenia Firemen's Carnival, whereas the Amenia Fire Company has scheduled its annual Firemen's Carnival for June 17, 2015 through June 20, 2015. Whereas the Amenia Fire Company has requested that the town board rescind the Oprah container law and grant authority to the fire company to close Mechanic Street and appropriate town roads for the duration of the parade on June 19, 2015, rain date June 20, 2015. Whereas the Amenia Fire Company has requested that the town board authorize the hiring of constables as needed for the parade and/or the carnival. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Amenia hereby rescinds the Oprah container law for the carnival area and approves the grant of authority to the fire company for the appropriate road closures, in addition to authorizing the hiring of constables as needed for the parade and the carnival. Be it resolved that this resolution shall become effective immediately, and I make that motion.
I'll second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Resolution number 8. Whereas the town of Amenia has adopted local law number 3 of 2007 establishing the powers and duties of the town constables, and whereas section 10(7) of that law authorizes the town board to adopt a resolution granting special duties to the town constables upon a determination that assignment of these special duties is appropriate, is consistent with the scope of town constables' powers and duties as peace officers. Whereas the annual Amenia Firemen's Carnival is scheduled to be conducted in the town of Amenia from June 17, 2015 through June 20, 2015. Whereas the town board concludes that it would be in the best interests of the town of Amenia, of the public health and welfare for the town constables to assist in parking and traffic control for this event, and to generally patrol the carnival and parade grounds and surrounding area during the event. Now therefore be it resolved that the Amenia Town Board hereby grants the town constables the special duties enumerated in sections 10(7), C, D, E, F, and G, the Town of Amenia Town Code during the Amenia Firemen's Carnival from June 17, 2015 through June 20, 2015, including the period of time prior to and after the event necessary to patrol the area for safety and to assist in controlling and directing the parking and traffic generated by this event. It is further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town constables to carry a firearm as authorized by section 10(6), the Town of Amenia Town Code, while performing the special duties identified in this resolution, It is further resolved that the Amenia Fire Company shall pay for the costs associated with the town constables providing the services identified in this resolution. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilmen voting as possible. Can I make that motion?
Second.
Again, I would like to discuss this again. I mean, I still have a problem with the constables carrying firearms. I think it's a liability that the town shouldn't be opening themselves up to. So I wish we had separate resolutions, because everything else is good on this, except I don't agree with them carrying firearms.
Is there any other discussion? Roll, please.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Delango?
No.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
Community fireworks sponsored by the Amenia Fire Company. We received a voucher. They are requesting $3,000 toward their fireworks. I have allotted $1,000 under celebrations. If the board chooses to do this, we can take an additional $2,000 out of contingency.
And is this what we paid last year?
Yes.
3,000? And those were the first 2 years. This would be the second year that we've done this. As I recall, maybe last year was the first year that we assisted with the cost.
Yeah.
And do you know what the overall cost of the fireworks is, or a ballpark number? Is this like half or a third or a fraction of? You do know?
If someone wants to make a motion authorizing the expenditure, I'll have the resolution at the next meeting for the transfer of funds.
I'll make a motion that we assist the Amenia Fire Company with a $3,000 expenditure to help them with their firework display.
Second?
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, we have information regarding an engineer for the Kent Road Cell Tower engineer. I believe he is a engineer whose expertise is in radio frequency, and the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals are in need of his expertise for this, for the Kent Road Cell Tower application.
Was this the same engineer they used previously for radio frequency
Yes.
consulting?
Who use frequent, for what?
Planning board for radio frequency consulting of the last cell tower project they had. It was a few years ago.
I don't know if it's this person or not, but we have to
Where'd we get this?
hire him. This was from the planning board.
From the planning board? Okay, with their recommendation.
Yes. So that they can move forward on the
Yeah,
application.
I'm familiar with it.
All right, I move that we hire Ronald, what's it, Graff?
Do we have a price?
Yeah, I'm not seeing the price here.
Yeah, there's no price. Planning board should just send that info with us.
Well, I don't think we can hire him without a
Yeah.
amount.
Price there.
So
Yeah.
we're going to have to table that till the next meeting.
Yeah. So tabled.
Tally Ho Estates speed limit request. We received a letter requesting a speed limit reduction by the Tally Ho Park. And Stan, there's also another form besides the resolution that has to go to the DOT. They require a resolution. Stan filled in all the mile markers and everything for me to send with the resolution. And is this something that the board wants to do?
We don't have a copy of the rest of it, the form that goes with?
That's this, if you want to look at it. Stan filled it out and put the mile markers in. That's the form that's required.
Great. I'll just take a copy.
I can make a copy for everybody if they want to see it. But that has to go in with the application.
Thank you.
And that would be resolution number 9.
Should the resolution is kind of vague on where it is. Route 22 between the intersections of Route 343.
That's why you have the other,
That's why you.
No, I
the form
understand that,
goes
but
with
shouldn't
it.
that be set into the resolution? Written into the resolution?
no? What, the mile
Okay,
markers?
might as well read the mile markers in.
Well, I could read them in.
You know, I mean, it's just, it's kind of vague. It says the stretch of Route 22 between the intersection of Route 343 and Route 22 in Wassake to be posted at 35 miles an hour. I mean, if you don't read the,
Well,
the
I can
request
read-
from Tally Ho,
Yeah,
they basically explain, where they want it at 35 miles an hour. The residents propose the following action. The speed limit is lowered to 35 miles an hour from north to south and south to north on Route 22 and Route 343.
well, I can
east-
read the mile markers in
Okay.
to the resolution. Whereas the town of Amenia has requested that the speed limit on the stretch of Route 22 between the intersection of Route 343 and Route 22 in Wassaic county between mile marker 22, 8204, 1175 and mile marker 22, 8204 and 1163. Whereas the application must be made to the state of New York to establish the regulation of a lower speed limit, whereas said application to the state of New York must be made by adoption of a town resolution by the town board and by application to the county superintendent of highways of the county of Dutchess. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board will request the New York State Department of Transportation establish an area speed reduction of 35 miles per hour at said location.
I think where it says speed reduction of, I think you want 2, right? 2 35 miles per hour.
235. Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Purdy?
Yes.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes. I'm going to give that to Dawn so she has the mile markers. Thank you. Dutchess County Joint Government Efficiency Plan. I gave you information. As part of year 2, 2016 of the New York State Tax Freeze Credit Law, certain taxpayers will be eligible for rebate checks that reside in taxing jurisdictions that stay within the tax cap and develop a government efficiency plan that is determined to be compliant by New York State Division of Budget. Dutchess County Executive Marcus J. Molinaro is pleased to offer municipalities that meet the above criteria the opportunity to participate in the joint county or coordinated government efficiency plan submission. For municipalities that opt into this joint submission, the county will coordinate the effort and provide phone support. Municipalities may also opt instead to submit their own government efficiency plan. This is part of the property tax freeze that Governor Cuomo has put into place for 2015. Municipalities were required to stay under the tax cap, which we did, but for for year 2, 2015 through 16, we need to comply with the tax cap, which, by the way, has not been announced because we're not even sure what it's going to be, and submit an efficiency plan by June 1st that is determined to be compliant by the State Division of Budget. Now, the efficiency plan means that you have to show a savings of 1% of the tax levy. So that would mean we have to show savings of $15,471 for 3 years using shared services. For example, we have we're working on a grant with the town of Dover for microfiche, and we could use the savings there. We also did a shared service with the county for our workers' compensation, and we could use the monies from that. And we could also use the money for shared services for the highway equipment that we purchased. Now, what would happen if we go along with the county plan, if for some reason one of the efficiencies that we put in our plan is disqualified or not accepted by the New York State Budget Authority, that whatever amount that the county was over in their plan, because they're the efficiencies they're going to have, it would cover us so that we would be able to meet a government efficiency plan. There isn't any cost for us to join with the county to do this plan, but we need to send the opt-in or opt-out form by April 6th. And then we have to, follow all deadlines after that.
What's your recommendation?
That we join with the county, because they are going to help us go through everything that we have to, to accumulate these savings for the next 3 years. So they're going to be offering a lot of assistance. And basically how this even came about, the supervisors and mayors, because of the directions and, the rules you have to follow in order to complete this government efficiency plan, were so technical, they reached out to the county. And Mark Molinaro immediately responded with the offer to assist any of the municipalities with meeting the government efficiency plan that needs to be needs to be in by June 1st. Now, this is in order for our taxpayers to get a rebate on their property tax.
How much is the rebate?
It depends on the taxes. They're thinking maybe $150 or more. They're not, it depends. It would depend on each person.
And it goes through 2019?
Yes.
It says 4 years.
This is a requirement by the...
You've had this since the 24th, we're just seeing it like now?
Actually, I gave this to you the whole tax freeze thing.
Well, you
since
gave the
last year.
advertisement.
No, I
The
gave you a
3-page
whole packet.
advertisement here, with a little fact sheet that makes it sound really good, but doesn't have any details in it.
I went to a meeting there,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave you the two basic sheets. As far as the property tax freeze, all that information I gave you last year during the budget, so that you knew that's what we needed to do. And it's the same thing, that's
But
what
the
you have.
efficiency plan, this is the first we're seeing details about that.
Supervisor Prodi, I just want to let you know that we followed up, we had a town clerk's meeting down in Dover regarding the grant, and this topic became a discussion because another town that's participating inquired what would be the cost savings for the town clerks joining in on this grant that we're submitting this month, and they estimated approximately $30,000. And so Roz is going to put together a packet that I can present to you during budget season, because all our towns are going to need the same packet to show to assist the town boards with what our savings is going to be. So we just had this discussion at 12 o'clock this afternoon when we were in Dover. So
Yeah, we have other things we can
Thanks,
use
Dawn, that's
too.
very helpful.
it just came. Town of Northeast inquired how much was going to be the cost savings. So I guess Town of Northeast may have attended the same meeting. And so
Yeah, all the,
they're looking
most
for
of the
what
towns were
numbers
there.
because they're also part of the roller grant, so she was looking for numbers on that as well, what the cost savings was, and off the top of my head, I couldn't remember what Stan had presented.
No, I have that. And
So-
our tax freeze information had to be submitted by January 21st, and ours was in at January 8th.
So this Dutchess County Government Efficiency Plan's estimated required savings by the municipality. It has Amenia needed 3 years, $50,235. So is that a combined 3 years? We have to show them that we saved $50,000?
Those figures are for illustrative purposes. It's not, we don't have the real figures. So they're asking us to agree to something without knowing what the numbers are that we need to meet.
You have to meet 1% of the tax levy. Our tax levy is $1,457,127. So 1% of that is $14,571.
And the way that we show these savings is the cooperative agreements, the shared services,
Right.
mergers of local government units.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Well, that would be a village and a town.
Between a village and a town? Efficiency, improved
Or
process?
or
Or
another
two
one could
towns.
be 2 fire districts merging.
Sharing assessors. Like when they close the justice court. In the village of Mobile.
But we, one of the, and the other condition is that whatever savings you had can't be any earlier than 2012. Well, in 2012, we changed from, our workers' compensation plan to the county plan. So we can show the savings from, what we what we paid prior for our workers' comp and how much we pay through the, so that's a savings.
And how much was that savings?
Well, I don't have it in front of me. This year our workers' comp was $8,600. I don't know what it would have been had we been with the other. I have to look at prior years to see what we were paying, to see what the savings is. But what it says is that it has to be 1% of the tax levy, and that's what our tax levy is. So I haven't actually sat down and worked on the numbers yet, but they're, 1,000 are 14,571 would be ours. Because it's saying it's 1% of the levy, and that's what our levy is.
I'm sorry, do you know if the school district is doing this also?
The school district had to stay under the cap.
No, because one of the questions, are there any circumstances in which homeowners could receive a property tax credit freeze for the school portion of their taxes next year if the school district failed to submit a government efficiency plan?
Well, it wouldn't matter if Weebatook submitted a government efficiency plan because they didn't stay under the cap this year. So one of the requirements is that for the year 2014 and 15, we have to comply with the tax cap only, which we did. It's year 2 that we have to have the efficiency plan in.
So basically, where we're going to have the savings or the refund is going to be on the property tax itself,
right?
Not the school district.
No, the school district is completely separate. This will be strictly property tax.
Well, if it's going to save the taxpayers money, I think it's a good idea.
Well, it isn't, if people are to receive a rebate, this is what we have to do.
A larger rebate.
Any rebate. They're not going to get a rebate unless we do both things.
It's a shame we don't have financial information about it.
Excuse me?
It's a shame we don't have financial information about it and that we didn't have this information earlier to look through. Makes it difficult.
What makes it difficult? Your decision is to either do our own or go in with the county. That's the only thing we're deciding tonight. Any potential savings and what would be turned in by June 1st would be shared with the board. But if the taxpayers are going to get their rebate, we have to submit a government efficiency plan. What's before the board tonight is, number 1, do you want to go it alone, or number 2, do you want to go with the county?
If we go with the county, then we have the opportunity to, you have a backup plan. If one of your savings plan doesn't get accepted, then the county would let us use an extra one of theirs and would allow us to do that. So I don't think that there's any negative. We don't pay anything to join with them.
No, there's no
You have the additional
cost.
support from the county to review your plan and to make sure that it's eligible. I think if the supervisor feels this is something that will be helpful in creating this plan, I feel comfortable making that motion.
Yeah, I feel comfortable seconding.
And that would be to opt in to the Dutchess County Joint Government Efficiency Plan through 2019. We have to agree to that, right, Gretchen? It's a 4-year opportunity.
Yes.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, at the last meeting, we had a presentation by Sina Cutson regarding asking us to do a resolution about PCBs. We didn't take any action at that time. I just wanted to know if the board wanted to do a resolution or to send a letter of support or not act on it at all. Because we, so that we have something formalized.
I mean, my whole feeling on that, the DEC said what GE did was good. EPA said what GE did was good. I honestly don't think it's affecting our area. I don't know enough about it to get on board with this.
I feel it's also not in our communities. It's not affecting our section of the river. It's up in that Troy area. And I know she said Carey Institute was not into advocacy, and that's true to some extent. They do have a proposal. They're willing to study the effects of the PCB removal. And I didn't understand, at what cost, what percentage of toxicity would we see by this additional expenditure of X millions, billions of dollars? Or, how much is it costing to bring the PCB toxicity down? To what degree? So I'm not comfortable that I know enough yet, and that it's not something that affects directly our communities.
Okay. I make a motion that that the town board not send a PCB resolution or a letter in support of the Sina Cutson presentation regarding the PCBs of the Hudson.
I'll second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, are there any other matters?
I had a request from our Eagle Scout candidate, Max Smith, from Scout Troop 29, asking the town, having gone to John Fenton to make sure that his kiosk and sign proposal met the sign requirements, which it did. He's just replacing the existing kiosk with a new structurally sound one in Wassaic on Furnace Bank Road near the railroad crossing. And what he would like us to do is to waive the fees that would be associated with the permits needed for him to go forward. And I'll make the motion that we do waive any fees associated with
I'll
his
second
project.
that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Perotti?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Are there any other matters? Public comment?
Ask a question.
Certainly.
And I apologize if you've already talked this one really over and over, but I just haven't watched you on TV. Earlier, stormwater management plan for the playground?
For the town hall area. There's water that comes down off the roof and down the downspouts and goes through a culvert underneath the road, and the water goes, into the wetland.
I was going to say, it's all wetlands down there. The whole thing down here is wetlands, or it was anyway, when I was a kid.
I know, but we have We
So, I
have
mean,
to, we have to address the runoff from the roof.
I mean, you
And
gotta,
so they, the HVA applied for a grant on our behalf, and we have $17,000 to do a rain garden and what other stormwater measures we need to take to keep that runoff from going into that
do
area.
you intend to leave a playground there?
Oh, yeah, we're replacing the
Yeah,
playground.
that's what I gather. I do remember something about that. Is that the place to put it?
Put
If
what?
you got the playground, is that the place to leave it? Maybe
Well,
in the
the
view
whole-
of the fact that it is, we didn't have playground equipment down there when I was a kid.
Well, the whole playground is going to be moved down further.
I was going to say, I would
Then
hope,
it
I would
is.
think
It's
so,
going
if
to
you're
be
going to
moved-
do it.
It'll be moved more to the right. The existing equipment will be taken out, and then what area where some of the equipment is, you know, we're just going to plant grass. But in order to, I mean, we have an existing DEC permit that we're working with, which is pretty much I mean, the DEC is telling us, you know, if you want to put a new playground and if you want to take the existing playground equipment out, you know, we have to have the completed permit. So, you know, we do have a permit in place. We just had to add some more, give them some more information.
Do you have that many people on that playground? Do you have that many youngsters that even use it? There's a need in the town for that. There's a playground down on the Beekman Park. I mean,
We also have a
so you need
summer
to have it
recreation.
in 2 or 3, how many do we need? And I'm just asking, it's very object, you know.
The summer recreation program is very,
Do
very
they
big,
use that?
And they use it, yes, they do. And it's
And
actually
they've had
been
about
increasing.
75 kids, I think, last year.
I mean, but it is, well, I'm glad to hear that you're going to move, because
Kathleen
gonna-
Howard does an excellent
we're
job.
going to cure that one. I don't think, even if you move the drains. But I'm only an amateur.
We're not moving the drains and the storm, I mean,
you're not
we have someone who's,
Yep.
we have someone, the HVA is working with us to come up with a stormwater plan to address the runoff.
I mean, I don't, you know, I would think, and right, then I was, okay. I had something else, but I'll leave it. And that's a lot of money. All right. Thank you very much.
Is there any other public comment? Town board comments?
I have a comment. I know we're saddened by the loss of Conchetta Eastman. She was a friend of the community, and a lot of people knew her. And I'd like to say that there's going to be a benefit for her kids, for her and her children at the Wasaig Firehouse on April 11th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Adults are $10, children 10 and under are $5. And then there's also a benefit show at the Lantern Inn, the Rhythm and Blues Band, also on April 11th at 9 p.m. $5 cover charge with a 50-50 drawing to benefit Conchetta Eastman's family.
I'm going to do a shout out to John Culligan, who worked all weekend long to host all these families and children's activities. He worked the entire weekend, including Friday, to meet with families and leaders to make sure that the facilities was open and safe and available and presentable. It was incredible how many hours he put in. And he went over and above. So I don't know that we could use this town hall so effectively, efficiently, if he weren't willing to come here and be available to open it up and make sure everything ran smoothly. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Is there any other town board comment?
I got a question. I noticed a constable here tonight. Is this going to be common practice at the board meetings?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that today is World Autism Awareness Day, and people were encouraged to wear blue. I'm glad to see blue out in the audience. To to support, educate, and help people understand autism and how it affects people in our community and in our families.
I'd like to thank everyone that came out and visited with the Easter Bunny this past weekend. It is a great program that the Amenia Recreation has, is having a visit from the Easter Bunny here at Town Hall. Great gifts, games for all of the children of all ages. And I wish everyone a happy and safe Easter weekend.
Oh, we had a great time at last weekend with the Weebatuck Drama Society putting on Annie Get Your Gun. It was tremendous. I don't think Broadway has anything on our kids. That was amazing.
These are the Broadway stars.
Amazing.
Right here at Weebatuck.
So Amenia has talent. That is
Amenia's got talent, yeah.
it's crazy how talented they are. It was really, really fun. I loved the program and appreciate all the hard work that was put into that play.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, I move that we move to executive session for medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or removal with our town attorney, and excuse the town clerk, and appoint Vicki Doyle to take any minutes that need to be taken.
I'll second that.
Councilman Zelenko?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Prody?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prody.
Yes.